We cannot participate in a government that did not just kill or murder the innocent young people in the streets, but continues to abduct and kill the innocent people that their only crime is to come out and demand for good governance. So for that very reason, we are not willing to negotiate with the Kenya Kwanza government as a murderous government that does not respect the innocent young people that continue to stream in the street to defend only that their dignity. In fact, the Kenya Kwanza administration, led by William Samoei Ruto, has continued to make a mockery of our struggle in the street. According to them, they think that we enjoy being on the street. But for a matter of fact, nobody enjoys going to the street. All of us who like to spend our time in the things that will help us to build this national project, the Kenya National Project. But if we dare stay home and do not challenge the runaway theft or now the killings that are happening in this country, then what it basically means that we will even die home based on our daily material realities. Essentially, also, we have seen that the Kenya Kwanza administration is extending its term in government through diversionary tactics. These diversionary tactics, some of them we would like to address today, and at least bring the nation to the actual platform that the real enemy of the Kenyan people is not just one part of the Kenya Kwanza government or part of the opposition, but the real enemy of the Kenyan people is being represented by William Samoei Ruto, but it is a group of a few individuals that are actually foreignly backed. Some of them are in the opposition and some of them are in government, but they are billionaires that actually produce nothing, but they run this state as their own company to only benefit themselves as individuals and the people around it. This is something that we must continue to insist on, because the ruling class have returned us back to the tribal mobilization and tried to create conflicts between petty nationalism, like for example, this empty talk of don't touch Murima, or this empty talk that it's the first time that the Luo is leading the treasury. We have to remind the Kenyan nation that the shared struggles are across all tribes. The poor Kalenjin community, the poor Kikuyu community, the poor Luos share, even, in fact, they eat even the same way. But the rich people across the tribes enjoy the same privileges on top of the dead bodies that were actually murdered by this state. This is something that we must continue to remind the Kenyan public, that the discussions around, the Deputy President Gachagua yesterday was a diversionary tactic. It's not true that Gachagua is indeed more than a thief than, President William Samoei Ruto. All of them co-thief together. So if there is an important decision to be made by this country, then two of them must exit the stage. We have also seen several useless bills being discussed in the parliament. And also this brings out that the parliament is a sellout body. Remember, they are discussing several other bills to divert the interest of the Kenyan people.
You saw parliament grilling the CS, that lady, Deborah, as though she was incompetent. While this is the same parliament that forced her upon Kenyans, while we said time without number that this lady is unqualified to be the CS of health. They said that they used a means testing instrument. I want to ask, especially for the informal sector, if you're from the informal sector, do you pay the same if you're in informal sector in Nairobi as the person who is in Kieni? How do we consider the source of light, factors of production, cost of running a cow in here? What if I get married and I move to another community? Do I still pay the same? What if my cow is a bull, it does not produce milk? How do we consider these things? At the same costs of owning a cow, because the government cannot lie to us that they used several areas in means testing. What if my cows die or I move to a different locality? What was so bad about NHIF that they had to migrate it to that social health authority thing that costs 104 billion to revamp? Why couldn't we have injected that money into NHIF? Right now, they're saying that now they've brought Linda Mama back. Where is the Gazette notice for Linda Mama being back? All they say is utterances on social media that for normal birth, normal delivery, you will pay it has been increased to 10,000, and for CS, it has been taken to 30,000. So with the issue of health, which is a part which the government has sought to cripple. Because you've seen the government, one, kills its people, now it has gone to sodomizing its young men, and now it wants to ensure that their health is also out of the question, so that we are completely crippled. So I want to specifically talk about the issue of this SHIF scandal that is about to blow. We need to understand very clearly, because now they've forcefully migrated us. I did not migrate. That is the message that I just received from my phone. And I got that prompt to talk about the Kenyans. We have to rally and hold this government accountable, because Parliament cannot keep on imposing people upon us and then trying to play hero by asking them tough questions. We want to understand that, because they also say that it will be like Hustler Fund, that this fund will be deductible like a loan. Which bank will be in charge of it? What will happen if I cannot afford to pay it back as a loan? So this one is a question specifically tailored to the informal sector and the unemployed youth of this country. How do you intend to handle us? Or are we not supposed to fall sick? Is social health, is the National Health Insurance Fund that used to work quite well now a preserve of the rich? That is the question I want us to think about critically as a Kenyan, if you're watching me. And on the same breath, as young people, we've seen what happened to Bruce in the coast, a young man who was sodomized just for calling out a governor. There could be legal channels to be followed if any mistake was done, but this is not a thing that needs to be talked through settlement. We cannot justify sexual violence or sexual assault as a tool of anything. It is outright violent, it is absolutely wrong, and we want to condemn it. And as young people, we are saying that if in a week we have not been given clear directive, we've not seen people arrested and arraigned in court, we are coming to occupy Mombasa. I want to reiterate this, that we are not going to bother the entire nation while we know that this particular problem, that our brother and friend blogger Bruce was sexually assaulted in Mombasa, we will come to occupy Mombasa. Thank you.
We've counted. We know those leaders who have been good for this country. And we thank God Senator Omtata has been one of them. The message to take home from this presser is that we are draining the swamp. The bulk of the leaders you used to know or have known for a long time are changing in 2027, perhaps even earlier. We are draining the swamp. Secondly, there is this very, very, very sensitive issue of the IDs for young people. I got my nationality with my mother's milk when I was suckling. And someone now tells me that my ID will expire every 3 years. What's wrong with this administration? So I've stopped becoming a Kenyan after every 3 years, and then I have to reapply to become a Kenyan after every 3 years. I want us to do some simple calculation. That if you are born today and you are going to live for 80 years, I want you to divide 80 years by 3, and you'll have 26 times. So you will be going to the National Registration Bureau to register for your ID 26 times, and each time you'll pay 1,000 bob. This is insanity, and we are going to fight it. We were about to mobilize our young people to pick up our IDs because we want young people to vote in 2027 and to vote out a rogue regime. But now when we give them IDs now in 2024, they will expire at just about the election time. And so they probably may not be valid for that election. So we are not mobilizing our young people to pick up IDs. We are mobilizing our young people to say no to IDs that have an expiry date. Our nationality does not expire. And that has to be very clear. So the first plan of action is to tell this administration, we do not want to have IDs as young people that have an expiry date, because the young people of this country are not expiring. And I hope that becomes very clear to everybody out there. Naomba kwamba niseme hiyo kwa Kiswahili kwa sababu the 7 o'clock news.
We have a useless motion going on in Parliament, impeaching one of the partners in crime for just banging a table. What about that person who ordered for the killing of many Kenyans, of many young Kenyans? Should we be having a discussion, if in fact, about it? That is the person we should not even be calling the President of this Republic of Kenya. Because if we are impeaching his partner in crime for banging a table, what about the graves we have all over the country? What about the pain those parents are feeling, are mourning? The students who are in universities, the students who had bright futures, as we speak, they are now in the graves. I want to tell Kenyans we should not be confused by the sideshows going on in the Parliament. If they want to kill each other, they can do it. But what we are saying is that we went to the street so that we can take an entire Kenya Kwisha government home, including the majority leader and all the ministers. It was very shameful that all those people died only for those people to reshuffle the same people that those people went to the street, the Murkomens and the Churchill, because it's about their business. It's not about Kenyans. And that's why we are saying on this movement that we are going to make sure that the young people of this nation, come 2027, they have a voice on how they should be governed. It will not be a matter of play games again, that the young people of this nation, they will come with their crafty ways that these people will not vote. They know what is awaiting them. They know that these young people will make a decision on the ballot about this regime. And we know President William Samoei Ruto, people say he's a cunning politician, but this time round, he should be told the Gen Z movement is on his neck. We are going down with him to 2027, and it's not just after 2027. After he goes home, we will initiate a process that from the time he took over the government, everything he did, he will account for it. So he should not take like he has an immunity of such a kind. We will make sure everything, all the people who died, all the young people who died, we will make sure everything has been accounted for. Thank you so much.